everyone. Sorry for starting the stream a little bit late today, but we are about to dive into cracking SEO and trying to figure out what's going on with the pricing because something that's very important in order for websites to be discoverable on places like Google and everything else when you're trying to find information is for it to, hey Pixie, thank you for liking the stream, is to actually go ahead and be able to market to people and find their website information. And I remember back in the day when I was first starting, you were looking for keywords, taglines, and everything else. But obviously, if people are charging a range of $200 to $5,000 a month, there's got to be more behind the service. Now, I will say this Reddit story is a lot shorter than the one from last week. So we may end up hopping into the SEO GEO conference that I started with Wix prior. So let's go ahead and get this started. So let's see. Darman SEO Wizard is the OP or original poster for this about 17 days ago. Obviously, why SEO ranges from $200 to $5,000 per month for similar services, an agency owner's honest breakdown. I run a small SEO agency, and this is probably the most common question I get from potential clients. Why is there such a huge gap in pricing when everyone's offering the same thing? Fair question. Here's what's actually going on behind the scenes. So, not just posting a comment, but also giving us some tea. One, you're often paying for overheads, not expenses. Big agencies have fancy offices, account managers, sales teams, HR, multiple reporting tools, and layers of hierarchy. All that get baked into your monthly retainer. A lean remote team doing the same work doesn't carry the baggage. That is true. If they don't have to worry about the lease, then that's one less expense they had to put on to someone else. At least from what I understand when I'm doing my financial planning. Two, bundling services with hidden markups. Many agencies include guest postings or PR links in their packages. What they don't tell you is that a $50 guest post is being billed at $200 to $300 inside the package. Some agencies literally make more margin on link building markups than on actual SEO work. Okay, I'll have to look into link building because to me, that makes sense. That is something, hey Jen, that is something that makes sense. Basically, why charge you 50 when I could charge you 200 to 300 and hide it in my packaging? Which is why I do want to do, that's why I was working on my outline on Wednesday for my own website is I want to outline and be as transparent as possible. Now, are people going to read through everything? Probably not. But I want to be as transparent as possible so that when we go through something that's in a package, it's like, this is what you're getting, this is what you're getting, and we both know the expectation. Because I don't know about you all, but something that gets to me is the coaches online. They'll sit there and say, I have a coaching business and I'm going to charge you like it's a $97 value, but they say it's or no, not 97. It's a $5,000 value, but I'll only charge you $100 for it. That to me doesn't sit well or make sense, especially when they're like, well, this is all the things that you get, but it's really vague. And I don't like vagueness. I probably should like vagueness. I know attorneys like vagueness, but I don't. Three, automated versus manual reporting. Enterprise tools like Ahrefs, SME Rush, Screaming Frog, that's interesting, etc., cost anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a month. Some agencies pass down the cost to the client, others absorb it, but charge higher retainers. A smaller agency using selective tools or manual methods can deliver similar insights at a lower cost. I'll need to look at how to build that in. as a designer because I don't like, obviously, if you're designing a website, you're going to have to pass off hosting, the URL, the other maintenance fees. That is something that someone else is going to have to pick up because it's their website to maintain. But I don't like the idea of, oh, well, we'll pass it off to you because we don't want to pay $1,000 a month. So, again, something to look into. Volume versus quality gain. So, low cost providers usually run a volume model. One SEO exec handling 15 to 20 clients. You're basically getting templated work. Higher priced agencies should offer more dedicated services, but that's not always the case either. I feel like this volume conversation comes up quite a bit because I still remember seeing one Reddit post, and maybe I have it up on the docket. I can't remember if I saved it. But there was one where designers were asking each other, what is the maximum amount of clients that you should have? Most people said one or two. One or two at a time. Don't try to do too many. So they're saying 15 to 20, and yes, they have agents, but still, that's a lot to try to put and take care of. And then experience premium. Someone with 10 years of experience might charge more than someone with 2 years, even if deliverables look similar on paper. You're paying for pattern recognition, strategic thinking, and fewer costly mistakes. I argue as well, something that they don't say on here is someone with 10 years of experience is probably handling more clients at once than someone with 2 years of experience. So, because the 2 year person, I don't think that they're going to have fewer costly mistakes. I just feel like they're going to take their time with it because they haven't had the repetition of someone with 10 years. Versus, I know it's something that's always talked about is experience over price, which is something that I'm still trying to get in the mindset of because someone can charge you $500 or $1,000 to build a website. The difference could be one person has done it for 10 years and has automation and everything else, while the other person barely has 5 years of experience and they're charging you 500. But it's like, what's better? To have more websites that you create in a shorter period of time, but then the person that's doing the SEO has more experience, so they should be able to get through more and more often. And thank you both for all the likes. I do see them. I appreciate that, Jen and Pixie. So, final point that this person says is how do you decide what's right for you? Don't compare prices, compare these. What specific deliverables are included? Who will actually work on your account? What's their track record with businesses like yours? Are paid activities, guest posts, PR included or charged separately? Excuse me, I was trying so hard to bite that yawn. Are paid activities, guest posts, PR included or charged separately at actual cost? What does accountability look like if results don't come? Expensive does not equal better. Cheap does not equal bad. The right question is, what am I actually paying for? Happy to answer questions if anyone's evaluating agencies right now. I love how they summarize that because it's true. I think of it similar to because most people have owned a car or they've bought a car or they've been in a car. You could sit here and pay for a BMW, or I think earlier we were reviewing Ferrari's website. I know that's more of like an F-150 kind of car or fuel racing. I'm not a NASCAR girl. I barely dove into it, but I know there's NASCAR people. You could get a super expensive, fancy looking car, but at the end of the day, do you really need the car that costs $100,000, or do you just need something to get you from point A to point B? So you're going to be using that 20, unfortunately, probably $40,000 car because cars are the price of a house in the 90s now. I was lucky when I got my cars. They weren't as bad. But now in this economy, anyways, the right question is, what are you actually paying for? Are you paying for people to come to your website? Or are you trying to just pay for this because you think, oh, search engine optimization is what I need? And then I do see Alexander Movichan does have information on here, as well as Hella Proper. That's an interesting username. Just to see what other comments they had. Doing SEO without the marketing strategy or the product is a recipe for disaster. Okay, that's good to know. You need to know what you're providing to someone and have a marketing strategy. Here's why we aren't taking on full service SEO projects right now. Oh, I guess they're not. Anyways, deep dives aren't cheap. I can't justify as a 5K invoice just to have my team spend weeks obsessing over the client's product and inner workings, but without that immersion, the quality ends up being total crap. 2. Budget mismatch. Most clients aren't looking for a $5,000 strategic partnership. They just want some SEO for $1,000. Transparency is key. Guest posting or and other overhead should be billed at marketing rates. I believe a flat rate, honest 30% management fee for turnkey work. Don't lie to your clients. If a guest post costs $50, charge $15 for the admin work around it. Copywriting should always be a separate item. Well, that's good to know. So SEO, copywriting, and guest post are 3 different components of this type of marketing. And the bottom line, we are scaling back our offerings to focus on more streamlined services. SEO should not be the crown jewel of integration between us and the client, but you could start there. You have to earn that level of mutual understanding through touch points first. So then my question is, and it's to the audience and to myself, what is the difference between a digital marketeer and a user experience strategist? Because that's a whole role that people don't talk about very often. That is behind the scenes as well. There's so many different titles for so many different things, which is why it's hard to stick a label on people. But I wonder if they would be a part of the digital marketing as well, typically. I feel like all the projects I worked on for volunteering did not really get a marketing department. Now that I think about it, like most of them were separate. Even when there was a Wix 3D build where I was a project manager, we we didn't market that stuff. They were on that on their own. I wonder why they chose not to work together, because that could be a whole section within that organization. But I don't run that nonprofit, so I'll keep moving. Oh, thank you for 1,000 likes on TikTok. That is highly appreciated. You guys rock. It also says on TikTok I have a low battery, no charging detected, but it's clearly charging. Okay, computer, you do what you want to do. And then Hello Proper says SEO is a AI game now. I have a feeling someone's going to say this. And incumbent agencies just don't want to admit it because they can't do it. Or they're already doing it, but don't want to erode their revenue/value proposition. You still need strategy, but AI can replace many manual processes. I'm not going to name my agency because I don't want to break any rules. But I've been doing this successfully for many small businesses in my areas. I'm an ex consultant and strategist for brands you've heard of. But now AI allows me to scale to apply my experience at a cost that small businesses can afford. Oh, and that's how we end on the AI front, artificial intelligence and what it does. I really wish that this person, and this is the thing about Reddit, right? It can be somewhat anonymous slash confidential because technically Reddit, they do have behind the scenes where they ask for your email and this and that. Actually, I know it says I'm signed in here. I don't know what this profile is, but it's a very interesting conversation when it comes down to artificial intelligence and SEO. Because the thing is it going to be pulling from books and resources that are available online to tell you information? I do feel like it does stop that churn of, oh, hey, come and take my SEO coaching class. Because I bet right now if I look, SEO coaching. And I'm not coming at any of the people that are in this area. I just wanted to see, though, if we're going to get that same, I could teach you this course. Yep. I'm already seeing it just out of theory. Um, we're only going to do necessary cookies. I do not like the coloration of this either because it is highlighter green. Anywho, I did say manage setting. I only want performance necessary. Boom. How do I get this to go away? I'm not going to accept all. You can just keep giving me the necessary cookies and leave me be. And this is an example of, oh, I had to click on. We're not talking about that right now. I had to click on something in order to get to it. But anywho, search marketing course, professional diploma. This is actually a company that looks like it's very similar to the Nielsen Norman Group, who talks about website design and research and everything else. But they're saying, oh, instead of paying $2,060, you can now pay $1,442. But I think this is more to get a certification. And I'm trying to decide if my brain wants to go on to a tangent or not right now about how certain portions of education are kind of like multi-level marketing stuff. I'm not going to go into it on this stream. I'm just, maybe one day we can catch me when I'm ready to start talking about that, because that's what this sort of feels like. Like, okay, not saying that this role and this task is not valid and everything else. However, why do I have to pay $1,400 to get this knowledge and be an expert and everything else? It's similar to research. When you already have a little bit of education, you're pivoting your career. I don't understand still why people want to charge you for boot camps. And that is as far as I will go into the topic tonight. Again, that could be a whole, that wouldn't be something for this. I also have Ashley Unravels where I keep going back and forth of like, ew, how far am I going to let that bleed into this? But I think that one's more going to be for tea drama and discussions, and Ashbury Art is going to be more for resources, and it will spill a little tea, but not too much tea. So at least it gives some information about cracking that code behind SEO. Is it a perfect solution? No. Could you probably ask AI to help with creating it? Yes, but I feel like you need to have some marketing principle classes under your belt, which actually, you know what? I never thought about it. How is AI impacting Udemy, Coursera, and Skillshare? Because those were the big three course teaching websites. Okay. I am a little lost because I thought Coursera owns Google, or Google owns Coursera. I'm pretty sure. I'm 99.9% sure that's who owns Coursera. So why would they not be the ones teaching the course? Thank you for the likes and thank you for joining the stream. So learn AI with Google. Google certificate in AI. I felt like Udemy used to be the place where you could go and get like SEO information. I definitely tried to do a YouTube course or two. Um, no. You're being put on time out, Rafi. Um, we don't do that here, sharing links with people. This is an educational stream only for people to be able to learn from each other and everything else. This is not a promote your stuff stream. And you are also getting blocked as screen. Well, you guys will both get a 5-minute cooldown warning. If this continues in future streams, you will be blocked from the stream because we don't do that here. Actually, let me make sure. So, yeah. Anywho, yeah, it has AO or artificial intelligence SEO training 0 to page 1 results. I'm just concerned that if you try to take one of these courses, because they might be priced at $17.99 or $29.99, how much of this, if I get an AI teacher, I'm gonna go and be upset. Not gonna lie. Like, there are people out there that are trained learning designers that create courses for people, and it's taking someone's job away from them. So I do want to be taught by a real person. I don't want to be taught by an AI generated person on the screen. I've already had to do that once with work because they didn't give me an option. But anywho, we are going to just go ahead and break right there so that I don't go on another tangent tonight. But I do want to thank everyone again for tuning in to tonight's live stream. And I will be back live. I know Saturday I'm supposed to be back on at 9 o'clock EST. And I do want to thank you all again for tuning in. And I'll figure out what I'm doing then. I'll post it on TikTok to notify, but also probably YouTube. I need to get better at using my community page. But thank you all again for tuning into the stream and have a great night.